Welcome to Instant Series Reaction. I'm here with Chris Muller to talk about the Arkansas series. They took 2-for-1, two of three from us. We lost the series, but it wasn't the bats. Everybody was worried about the bats coming into the series. It was more of a bullpen issue. What did you say, Chris?
Yeah, I think the bullpen wasn't what we'd like it to be. I think the hitting was it was really great this weekend, actually. Got contributions from guys like Hayden Leatherwood that we hadn't seen a lot out of lately. He had a huge 3-run blast yesterday to really cement it for us. And then today, we just got a ton of hits. I mean, I'm looking at the scoreboard right now, and it was just a lot of hits, home runs from Bench, home runs from Graham, so really, really good stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty fantastic, and that home run from Graham was an absolute no doubter. As soon as the ball left the bat, you just knew it was gone.
Yeah, just really, really good stuff. Yesterday, a guy that really stood out was Hayden Dunhurst. Hayden went 7 for 10 yesterday, and 5 for 5 in the first game, which obviously was a career high for him. So really, really strong in that category from Hayden. Just really impressed by the bats. They got out to such a big lead today that it's so difficult coming back from 11-0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and everybody's going to look at today and like, why didn't we win the game today? But I think, in my opinion, the game was actually lost in the seventh inning of game one. From that point on, you started having to go through many bullpen arms, and that just left you so shorthanded today as against a great hitting team.
Absolutely, and I think the doubleheader, while people don't think it comes into play that much, it comes into play a lot because we're playing 2 games in one day, and then we have to come back the next day and play another game. And so, in reality, we played 3 games in around 28 hours, and so that really puts a lot of stress on your arms, and it doesn't allow those guys that threw yesterday to throw as many pitches as they would if they would have just come in a normal game one situation on a Friday.
Yeah, and to go to game two, to talk about the win last night, it was a major hitting performance, a good performance by Doug Nikhazy. The team really started to gel a little bit before the slow start today.
Yeah, I think, we jumped out on Arkansas in a similar fashion to what we did in the first game, but yesterday Doug he held it down. And I think getting those 5 runs on the board just make it so much more comfortable for a starting pitcher, and so much more comfortable for a team that really got, kind of hit in the mouth, much like Hayden Dunhurst described yesterday in postgame. We got hit in the mouth a little bit in game one, and, we weren't expecting that. But Swayze Field really came to life, 33,000 over the course of the weekend, so really, really strong support from the Rebel faithful, so I was really, really impressed by that. I believe that's a new 3-game series record, at least for the regular season. So really excited to see that. Obviously, they are really excited down in Oxford to see their team really perform really well.
Yeah, and were you surprised, like Drew McDaniel's performance? He just was a little bit not there. He was off on all of his relief appearances this weekend.
A little bit surprised by that. I mean, I think that you're going to have times where you just don't have your A game. I think Ben McDonald describes it as a third of the time you're going to be really, really excellent. A third of the time you're going to have your average game, and a third of the time you're going to be a little bit below average. And perhaps this weekend was a little bit below average for him.
Yeah, and what about the base on balls? What's your read on that? I think 19 today, 9 in game one. I mean, it's an unbelievable number for Ole Miss.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from at all. I wish I could explain that. That was something that Coach Bianco pulled up in postgame when he talked about how many free passes we gave Arkansas. And when you do that, it just puts so much stress on your defense, so much stress on your pitching staff. You're talking about 2 runners per inning that we allowed on base without even touching the ball with their bat. So that's just a lot. And Arkansas is a great hitting team. My hats are off to them. I mean, they came to play this weekend, and they got hit in the mouth today a little bit too. Going up 11-0 and then seeing a team come back and tie it on you in 7 innings, that's really got to mess with your psyche a little bit. But the flip side of that is we could have thrown the towel in today after going down 11-0, and we didn't. And so that really excites me that those those student athletes in our dugout really have the mindset that they're never out of the fight.
Yeah,
And so
and
that,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, is it
But
with, when
they're
it's
never out of the fight. And
go.
so I think it's really important that they know that they can score a lot of runs. And that's really important, that when they do get down in another situation, hopefully it's not going to be 11 runs again, but when they do get down in a situation like that, they're able to come back and score runs in bunches.
Yeah, I was just going to say that they have experience now basically playing a slow pitch softball game where the scoreboard is going like a pinball machine, and it's not something that's going to get to them again. They've actually been through it.
Yeah, I mean, the bats are going to be there even without Tim Elko, which I think is a huge, huge loss, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't really talked about that yet, but losing Elko for whatever period of time he's out, if he is able to come back and hit or play the field, we don't know yet. Coach Bianco hasn't said one way or another. I still think they're waiting on some inflammation in his knee to go down and see where we go from there. From all accounts, I think he does want to come back and play, but it's just a matter of whether he can and what his body is going to allow him to do.
Yeah, and it is a huge loss. And now, as you can see with the lineup, there is a hole developing at first base. They tried Kel Baker, they tried Trey LaFleur. You saw a little Calvin Harris today over there at first base to try and figure out what they're going to do. How do you see that going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really don't know. I wish I did. If I did, I probably wouldn't be sitting in my living room right now talking to you. I'd probably be sitting somewhere with a nice Sharpie and a nice head coaching job. But I think that the lineup continues to be in play. You look at things that are going on in the outfield with McCants, with Plumlee, with Leatherwood, with all these other guys. I think the lineup continues to be in play. And I think it's just a sign that we have a lot of really good players and a lot of people that can perform at a really high level. It's just how they fit into the puzzle and where they fit into the puzzle. And so if Plumlee's best coming off the bench in a pinch running situation, that's where the coaching staff's going to use them. And if it's a guy like Leatherwood that is able to put it together this weekend and hit home runs, went 5 for 8 this weekend, I think that's the answer for me. So I think they'll continue to experiment with Harris, with LaFleur, and with Kel Baker at first, and just see where it shakes out. There's a ton of baseball left to play. We've got to understand that we are only 4 series into this thing. We're not even halfway through the grind, as they call it. So it's really important for us as fans to get a reality check, as well as to understand that Arkansas is a great program and a great team this year. And yes, we're going to see them again, probably in Hoover, and hopefully again, down the road. But we should not look at the series and say, "Oh, woe is us." No, this was a test, absolutely, for both clubs. And yes, we came out on the short end of the stick a little bit, but we're going to learn from this, and we're going to move forward. And this is only going to help us going forward. And so I'm excited. Obviously, I'd be more excited if we would have taken 2 out of 3 this weekend. But I think that we're still so young in the season. It's no time to push any sort of panic button. Yes, there were a lot of walks and a couple hit by pitches today, but we'll get that straightened out. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, get 2 in Starkville, and all of a sudden your plus minus going in through 5 games is you're still trending towards 18-12 for the season.
Yep, and I think I know our guys are going to be ready to get off the mat, and I know our pitching staff after this weekend is going to have something to prove to everybody, not just themselves, but to everybody across the country. This was a series that national pundits circled, and after Vanderbilt dropped their series last night to Georgia, everybody said whoever won the series was going to be number 1, and so there were a lot of eyes on us today. And so I know our pitching staff is going to take this to heart and say, okay, here's what we can do to get better, and here's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and it's just a shame because for 6 innings until that last one, Gunnar Hoagland was just dealing in game 1.
Yeah, for him to get a no decision, it really stinks. He threw a no-hitter through 5, which is just, incredible against the bats of Arkansas. Look at the number of hits they pounded out the rest of the weekend. And for Gunnar to go 15 outs without allowing a hit, good gosh, incredible stuff. So Gunnar's got it locked down.
Yeah, before we move on, I do want to ask you one more question. What do you think about the strike zone today?
Ooh, that's a hot potato, isn't it?
Uh,
Obviously, there were a lot of borderline pitches that didn't go the way that the defense, that the pitchers, catchers, Hayden Dunhurst wanted to go. Um, the strike zone is the strike zone. You have to adjust. Unfortunately, with today's strike zone, it seemed like the home plate umpire was a little bit all over the place, and so the pitchers didn't know where the zone was. The hitters didn't know where the zone was. Everybody can really adjust to the zone when they know what it's going to be, whether it's a ball or two inside, a ball or two outside, a little bit up or a little bit down. But when it fluctuates like it did today, it's just hard to play baseball.
yeah, when you have that tiny zone, all of a sudden it's going to help the hitters out, and you end up with 46 hits in a weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's crazy. Okay, it's time to play our favorite game. Austin P. Tuesday. Who's going to get the start? Drew McDaniel pitched twice. Josh Mallett picked twice. Who's going to be the guy going out there? Wes Burton, maybe?
I anticipated this question, Steve. I don't have an answer this week. It's anybody's guess at this point. Coach Bianco was not asked this question during post game, and I didn't dare ask it either because I knew what the answer was going to be, and it was going to be, we haven't gotten that far yet. I don't know. I wish I did. Again, if I knew that answer right now, I'd be holding a Sharpie in a dugout. So that's the best answer I got for this week.
All right. That is Chris Muller from the rebelwalk.com. Go over to him for all your baseball news. It's basically subscriber level information, and you don't have to pay a dime. I mean, it's absolutely great. Evelyn and the crew over there, even football, all the sports together, doing a great thing. And we have more shows coming up. I think this week is going to be the first of our Rebel Walk recruiting show. And I think we're going to do a baseball preview show with Chad from the Swayze Crazy Plays page on Facebook. He's now writing for the Rebel Walk, so that could be interesting. It's like we get Chris afterwards, and I think we get Chad before. So baseball should be in good hands on this channel. And coming up this week on the Palmcast, we should have an interesting guest on Tuesday. And I'll tell you who it is later. And we're just going to look at what's going on and try and have a little bit of fun. But Chris, I really do appreciate you joining us today, and we're going to get this up in a few minutes, and I hope everything goes great, man.
Enjoyed it as always, Steve, and hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy, bud.